much are you looking forward to working with him, and what position do you see him playing in if you play that 4-2-2 system?
I'm very much looking forward to working with him, as I did with all the other players. But in order to know what is his best possible position, I need to get to know him in person. I also need to speak with him, and of course, it's also about being fully physically fit. The way we played against Palace, which is the way that we want to build on for the next couple of games, also for tomorrow's game, is intense, high intensity, transitional movements forward and backward, and obviously you need to be fully fit in order to play that game. And we also saw that against Young Boys. The first half hour was okay, if not even good, but then we were struggling in the second half. I once again want to say thank you to the fans. They backed the team all over the whole 95 minutes, although it was sort of an experimental team. We knew that from the very beginning, but the fans were outstanding, amazing, the way that they supported the players. And once again, this is only thank you to our supporters for that. And coming back to Paul, yes, it will take some time, as I said earlier on, for him to get fully fit. He will get that time to get fully fit, and once he's fully fit, we will then see. From what I've seen from him so far, I rather see him as a midfielder and not so much as a striker or as a left winger. But again, if I get to know him, once he's fully fit, we can still see in which positions, which position would be the best for him.
Jamie Jackson.
Hi, Ralf. Yeah, just to get on Paul Pogba. Basically, for Manchester United, he can be absolutely brilliant, sort of world class. Then on other occasions, he can be, let's say, uneven, not quite as good. Whereas for France, the view basically is that he's always brilliant. Why might that be? Why is there a difference for United? Sometimes he's brilliant, sometimes he's not so good. I know you're looking at it from afar, but in your experience, and you will know the player, obviously, why do you think that might be?
To be honest, I can't answer that question because I don't know what exactly he's being asked to play if he plays for the French national team. The only thing that is of interest to me and to us is how do we get him fully fit? And if he's fully fit, in which position could he play for us? Those are the only questions that are of interest to me and to us. And again, now he's still injured. Once he's back in training or even be fully fit for playing, he has been probably out for in total 3 months. And nobody can expect from him to be, after 1 or 2 training weeks, fully fit again for our style of football.
Samuel Lopez. I think he's still muted, Samuel. Can't hear you, sorry. We'll come back to you. We'll go to Neil Custis.
Hi, Ralf. When you look at the makeup of your squad, is it as good as any in the Premier League? And it's just going to take you time to show that to everyone?
Again, too early to say that. I know most of the other Premier League squads from TV, haven't played against them directly, but I'm happy with the players I have currently, and I'm also happy with the performance that they showed on last Sunday. And now it's about developing, learning by doing. Right now, most of that has to happen on the pitch in games, because there is not that much training time in between. And this is what we try to do, to develop the team from now on, get better with every game that we play, produce as many clean sheets as we can. And as I said earlier on, with the group of players that we have, we are always able to score goals. I'm not worried about that at all. It's about making sure that we get as many clean sheets as we can get.
Yes, hi Ralf. On Paul Pogba again, he's now entering the final few months of his contract at the club. How much of a role can you play in trying to convince him to stay? Because you said before about talking to players in the next couple of weeks who might go out on loan. Are you one of these coaches that has a view that if a player doesn't want to stay, then he's not worth keeping?
Well, I wouldn't say he's not worth keeping, but of course players have to want to play and stay for a club, even more so for a big club like Manchester United. And if a player does not want to play for a club like Manchester United in the medium and long term, I don't think it makes sense to convince him to change his mind. This is such a massive club, such fantastic support from the supporters. I don't think that anyone in the club should then try to convince a player to stay. But on the other hand, let's wait and see. I have spoken with him for 15 minutes over the phone 3 days ago. Let's have him come back, get fully fit, train with the team, and then we will see where we stand, how the team has developed by then. He can be an important player. I'm fully aware of that, but this is true for all the other players that we have. And I'm not only the coach of Paul Pogba once he's fully fit, I'm also the coach of all the other players. And my ambition is to make them better, to develop each individual player. And this is only possible by improving the performance of the whole team. It's in football impossible to develop players individually without the team being successful and develop the team in a sustainable way.
We'll try Samuel again.
Hi, Ralf. You said earlier this week that Chris Armas would come in as your assistant coach. Mike Phelan is currently the assistant manager. Does that mean Mike's role is going to change, or will he stay in the same role?
Whose role? Sorry, I didn't understand. Say it again.
Mike Phelan's the assistant manager at the moment, and you said Chris was coming in as assistant coach. Will Mike still be staying in the role he's in, or will he change to a different role?
Well, since Michael Carrick is no longer on board, we needed somebody else to replace him. So Chris Armas is one of two assistant coaches now, together with Kieran. So I have the two of them who help me to prepare training sessions, to discuss video footage together with Paul and with Paul Brandt. And Mike Phelan, he's not watching the training sessions. He also didn't do that when Ole was in charge, but he's also part of the training group of the staff. But he's never on the pitch when we train. He's not out there, and he didn't do that when Ole was in charge, as I said. So Chris will not replace, in a way, Mike, but much rather Michael Carrick.
James, okay.
Hi, Ralf. You've said over the past week that the January transfer window is obviously a difficult one ordinarily. If there was any opportunity to bring a player in, is it fair to say that sort of the defensive midfield or holding midfield position is one that you would look to strengthen?
I mean, my opinion on winter transfers is clear. It needs to be a player who improves the quality, who helps the team to get better. So it needs to be a high quality player, no matter in which area of the pitch. If it's a midfielder or whatever it is, it needs to be a player who really helps us to get better. And on the other hand, it needs to be a player, in case we would want him in the summer and he should be available for similar conditions in the winter, then it might make sense to discuss it and to have thoughts about that. But only then, if those two things come together, and it needs to be the right mentality, not only the right quality, we also need, especially for this competitive league, we need the best possible mentality. Mature, he needs to be mature enough, he needs to have a winning mentality. For me, the mentality is even more crucial in this league than in any other league in Europe.
Okay, we'll go last two questions, starting with Gideon Brooks.
Hi, Ralf. You mentioned Paul's been in Dubai. How comfortable, in principle, are you with players doing rehab away from the club?
Well, this is, I cannot answer that question right now. In my former clubs, I always try to make sure that the rehab should take place in the club itself. So far as I can tell, the medical department is really good, very good, with many different approaches towards rehab. So I would not want players to do the rehab abroad, anywhere else. But as I said, the decision on Paul was taken before I came. In the future, I already spoke to the medical department, to Steve, to our doctor, to Robin Sadler, that in the future I want players, hopefully we don't have long-term injuries, but if we have them in the future, I want them to stay here.
Rob Dawson.
Hi Ralf, you're obviously about to enter a very busy period of fixtures. It's the busiest period in English football. I just wanted to ask your opinion of that fixture list. Sometimes when coaches come from different countries, they're a little bit surprised at the demands that English fixture list puts on players.
Yeah, it's new also to me because it's the first time that I work in England. In Germany, we used to have a longer winter break of about 3-4 weeks until a couple of years ago. Now it's also only a short break of 2 weeks, but at least the players have off for Christmas and the Christmas holidays. Here we don't. We have maybe 1 or 2 days off, and the rest is training because we're playing on the 27th at Newcastle away. So this is a new experience also for me. But obviously the players are used to it. Most of the players have been playing in the Premier League for quite some time. And for us it's about getting the right balance between recovery after the game that you played before and at the same time prepare the players for the next upcoming game.